Hi artists. We are going to draw a landscape of a scene in, believe it's London, with a railing and some lights, a cityscape background, and a couple of people in the foreground. So you will need your workbook, sketchbook, a pencil, and a ruler for this activity. So first thing to do is open up your sketchbook to a new page, and you're going to draw a rectangle to frame the scene. You don't need to use a ruler for this part unless you want to, but I encourage you to try to not use a ruler to draw your rectangle. It doesn't have to be perfect, obviously, mine is not. And we are going to label some of our lines in this perspective artwork. So we're going to start with the horizon line, which goes through the middle of the rectangle. So this line in the center is called the horizon line, which is where all objects disappear from view in a landscape. And for this artwork, the vanishing point, which is where all objects disappear along the horizon line, is going to be a little outside the rectangle, but it's on the same line as the horizon line if it continued. So this line is called the vanishing point. Now we're going to need our ruler to draw a few angles. So the first line we're going to draw is the angle for the street lights. So it looks like they get smaller and smaller and smaller as they get further away, which is an illusion. Okay, so we're going to create our angle from the vanishing point to about the middle of the top of your artwork, okay? And then we're going to create a few more lines for the railing of this fence along the river. So the first line goes slightly above the horizon line. Doesn't have to be exactly the same angle, but slightly above the horizon line. And the other line goes slightly below the horizon line. Okay, and then let's go ahead and make our railing lines bolder so that we know where they are exactly. So I'm using the side of my pencil. You can use a ruler too, if that helps you make the lines straighter. So I'm really drawing two lines for the railing. And for the bottom railing, same thing. Okay. Now I'm going to add some of the major posts in the railing. So these are a bit bolder than the other posts. So these are exactly vertical. If you held your ruler straight up and down, it would be a 90-degree angle with the top of the paper. See, this is a 90-degree angle. I believe you've learned that term in math class. So we're going to keep making a few more vertical lines between the fence posts. All right, now we're going to start the lamp posts. So we're going to draw a cube platform for the lamp to stand on. So it starts in between the first post on the right and it'll end here. And then we'll add another line, and this line goes vertically and the bottom of it connects a little bit horizontally at an angle because that'll make it look more like a cube, like 3D. Let's do the rest of the platforms while we're at it. So the next platform will be here, draw one line, another line, 3 vertical lines and then a line at an angle for the bottom of the platform. And you can erase this extra little line because you wouldn't actually see that in reality. And with one line here, 2 more. And I'm filling in the sides of the platforms with a medium value. Okay, so now I'm going to add the details on the fence posts, or the light posts, sorry. So I'm going to use a vertical line to start with, out from the middle of the platforms. So they get small, they actually follow this line right here, and they look like they get smaller and smaller as they get further away. And then to draw the top of the lamp post, I did a curved horizontal line, and then I'm going on either side of this vertical line here. So this is the top of the lamp post. It's not super detailed. And then I'm going to draw some geometric shapes that are actually symmetrical on either side of the vertical line for the lamp post. Okay, and then I think there's one more line this way that makes it look more like a lamp. And then you can fill this in with a medium value and maybe do a medium value on one side and then a lighter value on the farther right-hand side to give it a little shading. Okay, next one, same thing. So curved line, oval shape, just a little smaller. Everything's a little bit smaller as we get further away. And then for the top of the lamppost, it's a curved line parallel to this line here. And then we have a little tip on the top. And filling it in with value. Okay, one more lamppost to do. All right, so we have our 3 lampposts. I'm going to add the vertical lines for the fence now. So you can challenge yourself to not use a ruler. The ruler takes longer, but without a ruler is going to be a little less accurate. That's okay though. So I'm using straight up and down lines along this fence post, or this fence. Okay, next we're going to add a tree that's in the foreground. So this really gives the effect of perspective because this tree is really big and it's bigger than the buildings that are obviously much, much bigger. So I'm going to start the tree at the base. And this is a much more organic line than we've been using. So I'm letting it kind of flow and be a bit more jagged than the other lines that are human-made. So nature is often more organic lines and forms. And then I'm going to fill in my tree with a medium value. I'm just using hatching lines for the tree. And then you can add a few darker values, like maybe under here is darker because it's not getting as much light. And then I like to add a darker line on my trees, like where the groove would be in the tree trunk. Okay, let's go ahead and add our city background. So we can erase the guidelines that we started with for the lamppost now. So those are invisible, you don't actually see them. And let's add our cityscape. So it's kind of just lines going up like steps, and then more irregular steps. And this one kind of looks like a castle here, which is why I think it's London, because London has lots of like old castle buildings and stuff like that. And then a few like more steeple type shapes. And this is, I think, the clock tower. Okay, so we can fill in our city in the background with a super light value of gray. So I'm using the side of my pencil to fill in the value here. And I only fill it in until this is supposed to be water in this part. So I'm not going to touch the water with my pencil. And the only problem I've had is I made the outline a little too dark. So when you do this, press a little lighter, like about this value with your pencil, so the outlines aren't darker than the filled in value. So if you look on this artwork, I tried to keep the value the same as the outline, and here it's a little too dark, so I'm going to erase it, the outline, so you can see it looks a little more realistic if the outline matches the inside value. Okay. Last thing we're going to do is add our people. So it looks like maybe a parent bringing their child to school. So I'm going to draw her head is right above the fence post. And this is super loose and it can be kind of fast gesture. So I'm starting with like just the skeleton as we've done before. And then she's carrying like a bag of some sort. And the child's head is just about at the fence line. And they have a bag also. And they're holding hands. So I have my stick figures. I'm just going to add the outline of the clothes and some hair. So again, this is pretty fast. And I just add like the overcoat. And her hair is kind of like flipped up. And just thicken up the legs. So not super realistic, but it gives the idea of two humans together in the foreground. All right, and then there's a couple lines below this fence post. Just maybe one here. And then there's some shadows underneath each lamppost and under the people, which makes me think that it might be like a rainy morning. So you can add some lines. It gets lighter and lighter as it gets further towards you. And I'm going to end the platform like right here. So it looks like this is a flat surface here. Okay, and there we have it. We have our little rainy morning London scene.